हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू द चैनल कम्युनिटी मेडिसिन एसेंशियल्स। आज का टॉपिक है फूड टॉक्सिकेंट्स। नाउ इट इज़ वन ऑफ दोज टॉपिक्स फ्रॉम विच MCQs come very frequently, almost every year, either in NEET-PG, INICET or FMGE exam. So today we are going to cover this topic in a way that you will never forget it. We will use stories, mnemonics, and I'll make sure that every single exam relevant point is crystal clear to you all. Let's get started. Firstly, how do we classify food toxicants? These are divided into two groups. One category due to diseases due to naturally occurring toxins in some food, like Lathyrism, epidemic dropsy, endemic ascites, second category, diseases due to toxins produced by some fungi like aflatoxicosis, ergotism, fusarium toxicity. So first of all, we will discuss Lathyrism. I'll tell you a story. Imagine a poor farmer from Madhya Pradesh. He does not eat much. He needs cheap food to survive. So every single day he eats one particular dal called khesri dal. महीने बीत जाते हैं, एक दिन बोलता है उसके पैर ठीक से काम नहीं करते. So slowly, progressively, he loses the ability to walk. First he needs one stick, then he needs two sticks, and eventually he crawls on his hands. This condition caused by eating Lathyrus sativus, also known as khesri dal, is called Lathyrism. ये स्टोरी याद रखना, पूरा डिसीज इस स्टोरी में कवर हो जाएगा. So Lathyrism is caused by Lathyrus sativus, also known as khesri dal. What are the local names of this dal? Tiora dal, lak dal, batra, garas, matra. How does the seed appear of khesri dal? This image is of khesri dal. Seeds are triangular in shape. Plus, these are of grey color. But when it is dehusked, it looks similar to a red gram or Bengal gram. रेड ग्राम को हिंदी में कहते हैं अरहर दाल एंड बंगाल ग्राम को हिंदी में कहते हैं चना दाल. नेक्स्ट, व्हाट आर द टाइप्स ऑफ लेथायरिज्म? In humans, it is neurolethyrism because it affects nervous system, and in animals, it is osteolethyrism or odoratism because it affects bones. So, in neurolethyrism, in humans, there occurs spastic paralysis of lower limbs. Spastic paralysis of lower limbs. And in animals, in odoratism, skeletal deformities occur. So simple है, humans में nerves जाती हैं and animals में bones. अब सबसे important बात आती है कि इसमें toxin क्या है. So the toxin is BOA, beta oxalyl amino alanine. It is beta oxalyl aminoalanine. And what are the properties of this toxin? First, it is water soluble. So what is the use of this property? We can remove the toxin by soaking the pearls in hot water and discarding the soaked water. Next, it does not cross blood-brain barrier easily. So more than 30% of diet should have khesri dal and should be consumed for 2 to 6 months. Then neurolathyrism will develop. So more than 30% of diet should have khesri dal and it should be consumed for 2 to 6 months at least. Then neurolathyrism will develop. And then extent of the problem, where does this disease occur? तो याद रख लो MP, UP, or. So this mainly occurs in Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Odisha. Who gets affected? So it affects mainly young man 15 to 45 years of age, and poor agricultural laborers. Alright everyone, we can describe clinical features in 5 stages: a latent stage, no stick, 1 stick, 2 stick and crawler stage. And now we continue Ramu's story. Latent stage. Here Ramu looks normal to everyone, but on physical stress, ungainly gait appears. So patient looks normal on physical stress, ungainly gait appears. Then no stick stage. So no stick needed yet, but now Ramu works with short jerky steps. So no stick, but patient walks with short jerky steps. Then 1 stick stage. Now Ramu has crossed gait. His leg is crossed over other while walking. He walks on his toes and needs 1 stick for balance. 1 stick stage. Here patient has crossed gait. Walks on his toes. Needs 1 stick for balance. Then 2 stick stage. In this, knees are excessively bent and needs 2 stick for walking. Here knees are excessively bent and needs to stick to walk. Then crawler stage. Now Ramu cannot stand erect anymore. There is atrophy of thigh and leg muscles. He crawls by throwing weight on his hands. So here there is atrophy of thigh and leg muscles. So patient crawls by throwing weight on hands, and patient cannot stand erect. Now let's cover prevention and control. One of the favorite areas for MCQ. Recently भी NEET-PG FMGE में इससे MCQ पूछा गया है. So if you want to remember the intervention by mnemonic, here it is. Very bad roads eventually get smooth. So very vitamin C prophylaxis, bad banning the crop, roads, removal of toxin, eventually education, get genetic approach, smooth socio-economic changes. प्लीज इन मेजर्स को याद रखना, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. सो फर्स्ट इज विटामिन सी प्रोफिलैक्सिस. जनरली Lathyrism is considered irreversible, but if we give vitamin C, it can repair damage in certain instances. So dose of vitamin C which we give is 500 to 1000 milligram ascorbic acid for 1 week. Then next is banning the crop. Under Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, Khesri dal is banned in all forms, whole, split and flour. Every form is banned. But the problem is, ban is not operative where it is needed most. मतलब जहाँ प्रॉब्लम है MP, UP, बिहार, उड़ीसा, वहाँ बैन काम नहीं करता. Then next is removal of toxin. We have two methods and दोनों methods related हैं boa के properties से. We know boa is water soluble. So we have two methods, is steeping method and parboiling. We can adopt a steeping method at home and parboiling is better for large scale operations. What we do in steeping method, we boil large quantity of water, then we soak pearls in that hot water for 2 hours, then we drain the water completely, then we wash again with clean water, drain it, and then we let the pearls sun dry. Now the pearls is safe to eat, but the drawback of this method, there is loss of vitamin and minerals. Drawback, loss of vitamins and minerals. In parboiling, we soak the pulse in lime water overnight, then we boil it, and this destroys BOA. This also destroys trypsin inhibitors. So that is the bonus benefit. So pulse will be easily digestible and protein will be better absorbed. Then education. So we must educate the public about the dangers of consuming this pulse. Then genetic approach. That is a very smart solution. We can selectively propagate and cultivate the uh, strain which has strain of khesri dal which has very low levels of toxin. This is developed by IARI Delhi, Indian Agricultural Research Institute, New Delhi. Then the ultimate solution is socio-economic changes. See, जब तक गरीबी रहेगी लोग मजबूरी में ये दाल खाते रहेंगे. So socio-economic progress will root out Lathyrism. Alright everyone, now rapid fire round. You answer mentally before I reveal. Causative agent, Lathyrus sativus. Common name, khesri dal. Toxin, BOA, beta-oxalate aminoalanine. Solubility of toxin, BOA is water soluble. Number of stages, 5 stages. Latent, no stick, 1 stick, 2 stick, crawler. Latent, no stick, 1 stick, 2 stick, crawler. So total 5 stages. Interventions. What was the mnemonic? Very bad roads eventually get smooth. So vitamin C prophylaxis. Ban the crop. Remove toxin. Education. Genetic changes. Socio-economic changes. 2 methods to remove toxin: steeping method and parboiling. Steeping, parboiling. So that is Lathyrism, completely done. Next disease is epidemic dropsy. Imagine a family in India, they buy mustard oil from local market, cheap and appears normal. Within days, swelling appears on both legs, breathlessness and some develops heart failure. ये क्या हुआ? Here, mustard oil was contaminated with argemone oil. That is epidemic dropsy. Cause, contamination of mustard oil with argemone oil. Source of argemone oil, seeds of Argemone mexicana plant. Argemone mexicana is commonly known as prickly poppy. Toxin present here is sanguinarine. How does this toxin act? It interferes with oxidation of pyruvic acid. Interferes with oxidation of pyruvic acid. This accumulates in blood. You can remember all this by a mnemonic: Mexican, sangria, drops. Mexican, so this is the source of Argemone seeds, Argemone mexicana. Sangria, toxin present is sanguinarine. Drops, it is causing epidemic dropsy. This is the picture of Argemone plant. It has prickly leaves and bright yellow flowers. Both Argemone seeds and mustard seeds closely resemble. Both these seeds mature at the same time during March, so these are harvested together accidentally. This is the picture of Argemone mexicana seeds. And this one is of mustard seeds. सिम्टम्स याद रखने के लिए एक सेंटेंस: सडन स्वेलिंग, ब्रीदिंग डिफिकल्टी, हार्ट फेलियर, आईज ब्लर. So symptoms are sudden bilateral swelling of legs, diarrhea, dyspnea, cardiac failure, and glaucoma. How can we detect the presence of Argemone oil? We have two tests: nitric acid test and paper chromatography test. Paper chromatography test is most sensitive. In nitric acid test, what do? We add nitric acid to oil sample in a test tube, shake it. If there is brown to orange color developed, that means there is presence of Argemone oil. Brown to orange color means Argemone oil is present. How do we prevent epidemic dropsy? We can do it by removal of Argemone weeds and strict enforcement of Prevention of Food Adulteration Act. Another disease we will discuss, endemic ascites. एक ट्राइबल कम्युनिटी थी मध्य प्रदेश में, नागेशिया ट्राइबल कम्युनिटी, जिनमें अचानक से 1973 एंड 1976 में पीपल स्टार्टेड डेवलपिंग एसाइटिस एंड जॉन्डिस. देखते हैं इन्हें क्या हुआ. कॉज NIN हैदराबाद ने इन्वेस्टिगेट किया था. लोकल पॉपुलेशन यूज्ड टू कंज्यूम अ मिलेट कॉल्ड पैनिकम मिलेयर. Locally it was known as gondli. This is the picture of Panicum miliar millet. Common name is gondli. So this gets contaminated with seeds of Crotalaria plant, commonly known as Junjunia. This is the picture of seeds of Crotalaria plant. So here was the contamination of panicum miliare with Junjunia seeds. Toxin involved here is pyrrolizidine alkaloid. Pyrrolizidine alkaloid. It is hepatotoxic. That is why clinical features are ascites plus jaundice. So mnemonic to memorize it: pyrites, ascend. Pyrites, so toxin is pyrrolizidine. Which is hepatotoxic, and the disease caused is endemic ascites. In this word ascend, last three letters are END, so disease is endemic, and first three letters are ASC, so it is ascites. So disease is endemic ascites. How can we prevent? First is disease education. Educate people in the affected areas about the disease. So one point is disease education. What else we can do? We can do de-weeding. De-weeding of Junjunia plant. Then at household level, we can do simple sieving of millet. See, Junjunia seeds are smaller in size than millet, so by simple sieving, these seeds can be removed. Next disease है aflatoxicosis. So, toxin produced here is aflatoxin. It is a mycotoxin. It is produced by Aspergillus flavus or Aspergillus parasiticus. Most potent types of this toxin are B1 and G1. These are most potent types. It is hepatotoxic and carcinogenic. Which food items get affected? Groundnut, maize, sorghum, wheat and rice. Groundnut is most important. This is how groundnuts look after getting contaminated with Aspergillus flavus. A very important factor which favors toxin formation: moisture more than 16%. Moisture more than 16%, this will favor toxin formation. So For prevention, moisture should be kept below 10% to prevent aflatoxicosis. How do we prevent and control the disease? Dry food grains properly before storage. Do not consume contaminated food, and moisture should be below 10% at all times. One more point, Aspergillus is a storage fungus. Aspergillus is a storage fungus. Now we will discuss ergotism. Causative fungus is ergot fungus or Claviceps purpurea. It is a field fungus. Aspergillus is a storage fungus. Ergot or Claviceps purpurea is a field fungus. Crops affected. It mainly affects bajra, sorghum, rye, wheat. How does the fungus appear? It appears as a blackish mass. Affected grains become black and irregular. Seeds black and irregular. This is the picture of ergot infested bajra crop. You can see black mass over the crop. This is the picture of bajra grains. You can see many seeds are black in color. So the types of ergotism: acute ergotism and chronic ergotism. In acute ergotism, clinical features are nausea, repeated vomiting, giddiness and drowsiness. Mostly acute cases are not fatal. In chronic ergotism, painful cramps of limbs, and peripheral gangrene occur due to vasoconstriction. Peripheral gangrene due to vasoconstriction. Okay, one interesting fact. Historically, ergot gangrene को Saint Anthony's fire भी कहते थे. Now, the removal methods. One method, salt water flotation. We add grains in 20% salt water. Infected grains float at the top, we can remove them. Next method, hand picking. We manually pick out the black irregular seeds. Third method, air flotation. That is all about ergotism. Last disease we will discuss is Fusarium toxicity. Causative fungus is Fusarium. It is also a field fungus. Crops affected are sorghum and rice. Most important to know is sorghum. Finally, we have covered all the diseases individually. अब ये एक मास्टर टेबल देख लेते हैं जो एग्जाम के एक दिन पहले रिवाइज करनी है. In this table, we will discuss the diseases under the heading food affected, contaminated with and toxin produced. First disease, Lathyrism. Food affected, arhar dal or red gram. It is contaminated with Lathyrus sativus or khesari dal. Toxin is BOA, beta oxalate aminoalanine. Next disease is epidemic dropsy. Here, food affected is mustard oil. It is contaminated with Argemone mexicana oil. Toxin produced is sanguinarine. Mnemonic to remember is Mexican sangria drops. Mnemonic is Mexican sangria drops. Next disease, endemic ascites. Food affected Panicum millate, and it is contaminated with Crotalaria seeds, commonly known as Junjunia seeds. Toxin produced is pyrrolizidine. It is hepatotoxic. Mnemonic is Pirates Ascend. Then next disease, aflatoxicosis. Food affected, most importantly, is groundnut. It is contaminated with Aspergillus flavus or parasiticus. This fungus is a storage fungus, and toxin produced is aflatoxin, which is also a hepatotoxin. Then next is ergotism. In ergotism, food affected bajra, sorghum or wheat. It is contaminated with Claviceps purpurea or ergot fungus. It is a field fungus. And the toxin produced is clavine alkaloids. To remember aflatoxicosis, mnemonic is a flav produces aflatoxin. Aspergillus flavus produces aflatoxin. So that is all about the topic food toxicants. We have covered all the important exam relevant points. Do not forget to like this video and please subscribe the channel Community Medicine Essentials for more such videos. Bye. See you in the next video.